We're going to welcome in here on Sharp Money, Eric Wynalda, who is honestly, we were having the conversation during the break as we say hi to Eric, SiriusXM FC host, of course. He scored the first goal in MLS history. I'm guessing Messi will score a couple when he gets to Inter Miami. Hey, Eric, and we used to work together at SiriusXM. Always talk to you here in LA. You're a great guy. We appreciate your time. We were having the conversation. If you start talking about the greatest U.S. soccer players of all time, of course you go Donovan, of course you go Dempsey, Reyna, and then your name's in that conversation. Who else would you throw in that conversation?
Well, you got to throw some of the goalkeepers for sure. I mean, we've had some great ones. That's why always seemingly been the position that we figured out the best with Friedel and Keller and Tony Meola and Timmy Howard. So I would definitely think those guys make the top 10 list. They always get slighted because they're keepers, and we always forget, but those guys would certainly be on my list.
By the way, Tim, I was going to say, Tim
Howard
makes my list for scoring a goal.
Exactly. What's that?
Yeah.
So well, let me just put it this way. I won't lead the witness. Messi to Miami. Your immediate reaction, Eric Wynalda.
Well, there's a lot of irony here. It's kind of funny. It's a funny story. So let me start with the story, and it won't be maybe a little bit long-winded, but
please.
A long time ago, I was sitting in the Fox studios, and we were making the announcement of David Beckham's arrival to MLS. And I had Don Garber, our commissioner, whispering in my ear, Eric, you need to say that the best soccer player in the world is signing with MLS. And I said, I will not say that. He said, well, you need to say that. I said, I'm not going to say that. And so when we finally came on the air, and I had a bunch of nervous producers telling me I needed to say that, and I said, I think this is great. We've signed the most recognizable soccer player on the planet. So here we are, so many years later, where the most recognizable player that I had to announce way back when is responsible for bringing the best soccer player on the planet. So look, there's a couple of things here. This is not a Thierry Henry. This is not a Frank Lampard or a Gerrard or Pirlo or anybody else who's come to this league to retire. This is Lionel Messi. This is the greatest player that's ever played the game, and it just has a different feel to it. To me personally, because I'm from LA originally, this has a Gretzky feel to it, where it's a scenario where this is somebody who transcends the sport. So maybe Gretzky didn't make the LA Kings global, but Lionel Messi just made Miami global for sure.
Eric, you played in Germany. Explain to people, first of all, what the sport of soccer means in Europe, South America, and the rest of the world, and why this is such a big signing for Inter Miami.
Well, I mean, first of all, when you play in Europe, it is a different. There's just decades and decades and hundreds of years of culture, and those clubs have been, embedded in those families and those communities. So there's always. If you go to Liverpool, for example, and you're on the wrong side of town, I mean, that town will turn red to blue on you in a hurry with Everton being right down the street. Those people hate each other. So it's one of those things where on the soccer side, Barcelona is a massive club. That's the one that Messi's most famous for playing for. Just the arrivals alone to practice, the people that watch practice, the importance of it all, and the obligation to be great, which he did for so long. It's just a different level. I mean, I guess the best way to explain it, guys, and maybe this is when our sport will grow up, but you could play a lousy game in MLS and walk out of that stadium, and there'll be a dad waiting for you with his kid saying, hey, can you please sign this jersey? And you sign the jersey because you're happy that they asked that you did that. When you were in Europe and you lose the same game, that same dad is pointing at you and telling his son, don't ever support this guy. He's lost today. He's a loser. So it's maybe when we grow up, every game will matter as much as it does over there. But for the time being, this is a good thing, guys. The league has grown up a lot. We have a lot of talent in this league. This is not just a walk-in and shine situation for Messi. He can play anywhere, but it's not going to be as easy as people might think.
We're talking to the great Eric Wynalda about the great Lionel Messi signing with Inter Miami. And Eric, think about this. He's getting compensation from Apple as far as the season pass. He's going to share revenue there. Adidas is going to give him profits from merchandising. And also he'll get a share of ownership. And Beckham, oddly enough, is part owner of Inter Miami. So it's unprecedented, but it's also worth it to get a player of this caliber to come to a league like MLS.
I mean, look, there's going to be a lot of money spent. Everybody knows that. The notoriety that David Beckham brought to Major League Soccer, the timing of it all. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my kids had 4 Beckham jerseys. Well, that's just what we did. Everybody had to have it. This will be the same with Lionel Messi. There'll be pink Inter Miami jerseys everywhere. So I mean, let's just get used to that. That's going to be the case. But that's also a massive revenue stream. I mean, sometimes when you have a player who's worth $80 million, and this happens all the time, if that guy sells 1 million shirts, he's just paid for himself. I'm not saying that Messi's a shirt deal but that is a big part of this. Everybody, I think almost, maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 families who enjoy soccer, their kids are going to be walking around with a number 10 on their back.
You're absolutely right about that. It's an excellent point you bring up in terms of the jersey sales and the impact he's going to have. But one thing I like that you said earlier, and expand upon this a little bit if you would, please. When we saw Frank Lampard, who was one of my favorites over at Chelsea, some of these other guys coming, it was almost like a kind of a victory lap or for them to kind of make a money grab. Messi can still play, right? Like when PSG acquired him, it wasn't just like, hey, we're taking some guy from Barca. This is still a guy who's an elite player, and just a year ago, won a World Cup.
Not even a year. It feels like a year, but it hasn't been a year. It's only been 8 months. So, I mean, one of the things that, and it is a valid point, because you do see a lot of guys come over here to retire, and that could very well be the case with Messi, who's just weighed out all of his options. He just got booed out of the stadium at PSG. So shame on, well, actually, thank you, all those folks in Paris for making this happen, for not understanding what you were watching and how lucky you were to have him. But in this scenario with him, he still is at a very high level. He's going to make any team that he walks into better. And it's going to be in a place that, we ran a story about 6 months ago that Messi's plane has frequented the Miami airport more than any other place in the world. So we kind of should have known that this was coming. I get it. You have to go through Miami and refuel to get to Argentina. But still, the reality is he likes Miami. He's already bought property there. He did that last year. This has been a long time coming. I mean, the other part of this is we just saw a coaching change, which means most likely that he's already had something to do with that. And that's okay. That's unfortunate for Neville. But, look, this is going to be, you said unprecedented. It is, because as good as David Beckham was, he was not one of the best players in the world, and this guy is the best player in the world. So this is going to be intense.
Eric Wynalda. Hey, Eric, are you coming up with coverage here on SiriusXM FC? Is that coming up next?
Yeah, in 7 minutes. I'm going to be on 157 talking about all of this. And look, and all of us are excited. We really are. I mean, I've been a huge critic of the league when we sign a guy that's 34, 35 years old and is over the hill and doesn't even know what he's getting into and isn't going to be able to bring the quality that is expected. I don't feel that way about this deal. I feel like this is something that we can all enjoy.
One of the greats, Eric Wynalda, SiriusXM FC, coming up in just a couple of minutes. Go kill it, and thank you for the time. We appreciate it, Eric.
You bet, guys. Anytime.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At Eric Wynalda. What he's talking about is Phil Neville, he played at Man U. He's been the manager of Inter Miami for the last few years. Tata Martino, the legendary Mexican manager, is now the manager at Inter Miami. He was hired by Lionel Messi. Messi look, Phil Neville's my age, he's 45, 46 years old. He can't expect Messi to come to Miami and manage him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's that expectation is like, you don't manage Messi. You're Messi's chauffeur. Tata is a legendary manager in Latin America that people respect, and I'm sure Messi grew up knowing Martino. Tata Martino won a championship with Atlanta United and then took on the Mexican men's national team. So Ronaldo was great.
He was fantastic. By the way, is there a bigger fan in America of Liga MX than you?
No, I'll put that. Honestly, I don't do much great, but I'll put my fandom of Mexican soccer first and then MLS second over anybody. Come fight me. Don't at me.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.